Adobe Acrobat Studio, so brand new. Show me all the things PDFs can do. Do your work with ease and speed. PDF Spaces is all you need. Do hours of research in an instant with key insights from an AI assistant. Pick a template with a click. Now your prezzo looks super slick. Close that deal? Yeah, you won. Do that, doing that, did that, done. Now you can do that with Acrobat. Now you can do that with the all-new Acrobat. It's time to do your best work with the all-new Adobe Acrobat Studio.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
What's going on, everybody? It's Will, and we're coming back at you for another episode of the HuntStand podcast. On today's episode, we're going to be answering the question of who the Grand Slam Turkey King is, the greatest turkey killer that there ever was. Well, I'm going to give you all a spoiler right now, but that's Mr. Jeff Budz himself. Now, who is Jeff? Jeff has completed, I don't even know how many Grand Slams in the turkey world. He is more than accomplished in the turkey woods, and we were very fortunate to get him on the podcast. In fact, we were able to just grab him for a quick amount of time. He's actually on a tractor as we're doing this podcast with him. That just goes to show how dedicated he is to turkey hunting and being in the turkey woods. So we're going to dive into who Jeff Budz is, what he's accomplished, talk a little turkey hunting, and get this turkey season kicked off because it's spring, it's raining here and there, flowers are blooming, the gobblers are gobbling their heads off. It's the most wonderful time of the year besides the beginning of deer season, but we've had that lull after deer season where you just don't know what to do. And so turkey season has finally swung into full effect. HuntStand team is fixing to dive into it themselves and chase after some turkeys in Texas here shortly. But nonetheless, we're kicking off turkey season with Mr. Jeff Budz himself, and we hope that y'all can get a lot of information out of this. But once again, we've got to thank all y'all for tuning into the HuntStand podcast. We greatly appreciate it. If you get the chance, rate, review, subscribe to the podcast. And if you got questions, topics you want us to talk about, send me an email, podcast@huntstand.com. I already got a few, so I'm already brainstorming on some podcasts ahead. But send that on over to me so I make sure that your voice is heard and I can put some stuff together, y'all. But nonetheless, turkey hunting, Jeff Budz, let's kick it off, and we hope you enjoy. Jeff, we're going to use this episode to kick off turkey season. You know, people are going to be listening to this in April, so this is going to be our turkey season kickoff with the King of Turkeys. So I want you to introduce yourself to the listeners, and let's give them a 30-foot tree stand view of who Jeff is.
Well, thanks, Will. It's good to be here, and hopefully can inspire and get a bunch of folks out there and get them off the couch and get out chasing birds. But, you know, I'm a working guy down in Florida. I moved down here 18 years ago, and the land of the Osceola, the elusive Osceola.
Oh, yeah.
And I've worked hard to build up the properties and all that. So that what I do, I mean, I'm a guide. I make a living by turkey hunting primarily, and so when I turn people onto it, it's not only what I do for a living, but when I'm not doing it for a living, I'm doing it as my number one passion, and that passion has led me to, you know, successfully taking a tom out of all 49 states. Of course, there's none in Alaska, huntable population, and so I finished my Super Slam back in 2014. I think I was the 10th at that time to complete it. And along the way of Super Slams, I've just racked up several Grand Slams, 109 to be exact. And I'm just getting ready to go to the NWTF convention, and people ask me questions all the time. And I hate bragging, but if I like to be really factual. So I keep an Excel spreadsheet, and because I think it's guys survival mode that we just don't remember details because women, my wife can remember what socks she wore to kindergarten on her first day. And me, I literally, I have an Excel spreadsheet. So I've got a 17-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 3.5-year-old, and my wife. And I keep one for them as well for their, now the 3.5, he hasn't hunted yet, but he will. So I keep a spreadsheet, a number, every bird that's taken by any one of us, we document the license and pictures, of course, nowadays with phones, it's so easy. But my wife and I just got back from Nebraska in mid-January, and I let her shoot first. I was a gentleman, and she shot a double, and I shot a double. So 2 shots and four birds on the ground, and we got that was my 500th. So it was pretty cool to get it with her. She's still new at it. She's gotten a few Grand Slams. She's 4 Grand Slams, and her, I think 28th bird, whatever, but it was the first time she got a double. And, for me, any teacher, mentor, any whatever, however I'm labeled, anybody that can be around and feed off that excitement of somebody that's new to the sport or to anything. I don't care what it is. And I truly, what came first, the chicken or the egg? I don't know, but I get goosebumps and I get jacked up on somebody's first. And I'm very fortunate to be around a lot of people when they finish their Grand Slams, because that's sort of my niche. I do Osceolas, but then I specialize at single season Grand Slams, and I have a lot of fun with it. And I tighten the screws on everybody because they've read about me, or the Nazi Jeff Budz ball buster, gonna no sleep, crawl in the ditches, get wet, leeches on you. And I tell my wife, she's like, you can't be so hard on people. And I said, honey, they would literally ask for their money back or a refund or a discount if they didn't get home and have some good Jeff Budz story that I tighten the screws on them. So I push them. I push everybody a little bit harder than definitely harder than anybody else in their life, I'm sure. And probably a little harder than what I need to, but we have fun with it, but that's sort of the overview. Just a turkey. I'm out. I just stopped for the call, but I'm on a tractor right now. As I said a second ago, I'm brush hogging. I'm getting ready to burn. So I'm managing. I'm doing it year round. Predator control. We were out this weekend knocking out a bunch of armadillos and raccoons because nesting season's coming up, and down here they're big killers. So I preach it. I live it. I'm around it, fortunately, all the time.
I love it, man. Now, you live in Florida, but where are you from originally?
Born and raised in Springfield, Illinois, and I moved out to Colorado in 92.
Okay.
I was out there for 10 years, and then back in Illinois just for a few, and then I've been down here since then, and moved down for a job. Had taken a gentleman hunting, and we really hit it off. And he said, I got all these properties, come down. And it's sort of led from there. I'm not, I don't work for him anymore. I've gone off private sector, but it's great. I don't have any employees. I got a couple dogs and kids, and I can tighten the screws on them and have fun and be in the woods. And it means a lot,
Heck yeah. Now, what have you done for a living outside of turkey hunting? I mean, before you've just dove into it, what did you do in your past life?
Well, I've done a little bit of everything. And I moved to Colorado with no job at all, and just because I wanted to get away from Illinois, and moved out, started bussing tables at a restaurant, fell into a job, and a year and a half later, 2 years, I was managing the place. And because people call me quality control or OCD or whatever they want to call me, but I'm the first up and I'm last to bed, and everything's in order and straight. And, I haven't found somebody that can outwork me, or, and that I of course have kids now mentoring, and I tell them the same stuff. But so I did that. And then I realized I'm not getting on the road while I'm working, or if I'm on the road, I'm not making money. So I started a painting business and light construction. I wasn't happy with my mom when I was growing up. She had a bunch of rentals, and I was the guy that had to go in and fix stuff and paint and do all that. Well, wax on, wax off. 20 years later, I made a living at it, and a pretty good living at that. And then just had an opportunity to turn it more into the wildlife management, and coming to Florida and doing that, and just had an opportunity in building up the turkey base, and had an opportunity to just turn it into full time. So, and nowadays, I mean, who even knows what graduating from school and working 9 to 5 Monday through Friday for 25 years or 30 years, retiring and sitting on the porch and reading a magazine. I mean, we all have to multitask, and I'm the jack at all. And no matter what job we have, we all are doing more now than ever, and good, bad, and different. It is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So the place you got in Florida, let's tell listeners a little bit about that. How many acres you got, like what all are you doing out there with the turkeys? Let's dive into that a little bit.
Well, and so when somebody calls me and talks to me about turkeys, and I tell them all, and I'm really honest, and I say, I'm going to try and talk you out of hunting with me, because if I need to talk you into hunting with me, then we're off at a wrong foot, and I tell everybody, and I do a lot of Osceolas and Grand Slams a year, and they freak out like, you kill how many birds? And so I lease a bunch of ground for just the turkey rights.
Okay.
And what my motto is, I come in and I take half of the toms that I know are on the property, because as spring rolls, they're going to start splitting up. Like right now, my guys are strutting. They've moved in. They're with their hens. We have youth season that opens the 26th of February.
Dang.
And yeah, I know. And I'll be out on the Saturday morning, the 26th. I got 2 youngins to get birds for. So I, and then besides that, I have a few more leases that I have, and I have members for, and some I just fill with members, some I take care of, and I'm there when they're there. So I and of course price accordingly goes directly to how much the quality and the beauty and the lodge and the housing and such. So
right.
So that's it. But all in Central Florida. I'm Okeechobee.
Okay.
Live out in the country, and it's 30 minutes to town, and you figure out what you need when you're there, because you don't get home and go, oh, I need a stick of butter, or some eggs, or
You're out there in the gator country, aren't you?
It's funny. There's one I just went by, and as you and I started off talking, I drove by a huge tom, and there was a gator sunning, and I drove 15 yards from him, and he was, I don't know that he was 11 foot, but he was close. To say that, I mean, that's a big alligator, and he didn't even blink his eye.
God.
So he could care less about the tractor, but there's a lot of gators.
Yeah, you can keep them gators there in Florida, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
So I want to dive into you a little bit. How did you get into hunting? Like, what made you so obsessed with turkey hunting?
I was not raised a hunter. I was a city boy. I mean, I had a pellet gun, and I was the kid that I got 1 shot for my buddies 4 shots, and I still would take down more blackbirds than those guys, just because you either got it or you don't.
Yeah.
And my little crossmen, I wore them out. And then I went off to college, and I still hadn't hunted. I mean, my folks were split up when I was young. I was raised in the city. I mean, I had a knack for chasing birds and squirrels and whatever boys do.
Yeah.
But bellied up at a bar, met a guy, and he said, "I'll take you hunting." And I said, "Really?" So we went duck hunting and then goose hunting. And then I said, "Holy cow." He said, putting for turkey, it's coming up in a couple months. So we did. And the first morning, here come 2 scrawny little jakes and gobbling their heads off. And I mean, at that moment, as I said before, I don't remember much about details and a lot of things, unfortunately, but there are certain things that are just burnt in memory. And that first hunt, just something. And I think, so that was April 1st of 1989.
Yeah.
And then 1990 and 1991, I went as most people do. I drew my 1 weekend in Illinois. I went out and I sat by a tree, and I heard some birds, and I had some come close, but I never had another opportunity. and it burned at me. And I said, that's it. Next year in 92, I said, I'm going to hunt every single waking moment of, and be out there, not just the 2 days. It was a 5-day season. But so I think from the beginning, by not getting them, I mean, if they would have just run in, if some, would I be here today if some toms would have run right in and laid down in front of me? Honestly, Will, I don't think so.
Really?
But because they beat me, and I didn't like that. And now, I live for elk hunting, and I could tell you a story about elk or turkey without saying elk. I could tell you what the environment looks like. I could tell you what time of day. I could tell you almost everything without saying herd or flock or bull or tom, and you would have no idea. And I could tell you to the very end when I was holding my trophy, and you wouldn't have idea if it was a tom or a bull. And so that chess match, that battle is so much alike between the two species. And I think now I feed off of that. I feed off of, and everybody, so I'll give a seminar and I'll start it off. I say, oh yeah, everybody thinks I'm so great. Well, everybody in this room, however many 50 or 80 guys, I said, add up every mistake you've made and every mistake of all your buddies have made. And I bet you I've made more by myself than all you put together. Now I'm out there for, 90 days this season and umpteen opportunities with clients and myself and all.
Yeah.
So I have more opportunity than just the guy goes out to hunt for his 2 days. But that's how you learn from anything we do. We learn from all those mistakes, and so it's that chess match, and now of course the success, because I'm just fearless and go at them and treat them. Gosh, I hate to say with less. So I started to say with less respect, but what I do, it's total respect, but it's less fear. People typically would sit by a tree and not make a call because they're afraid that they're going to spook the turkey, when I'm throwing everything at them that I can. I'm going to go down trying instead of go down by sitting on a bump in the ground, you know? So that whole, it was sort of a long answer, but turkey, because there's such a long season, because I can go for all the states and the different dialects and the food and the cultures through all those states. It's just insane,
It is. And kind of to piggyback off that, going with all the, different hunting in states and different cultures and everything, I encourage people to hunt out of state all the time. But to get back to turkey hunting, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say your obsession level is with turkey hunting?
100.
100? I figured you might say something like that.
How can you quantify something like that? I mean, I always try and set the bar high. I've been working on it, and I had to wait until last year, the summer of 21, because Florida's season opened up on July 31st. The way the calendar works, it goes from August 4th, and then it works its way back and goes all the way down to the 31st, and then the 30th, like in 22, it'll open on the 30th, and then it goes to the 29th, and then it goes to the 28th, and then kicks back to August 4th. So the net is, I said, you know what? And I've always been thinking about it. So I started in August, on actually August 1st. I was out opening day in 21 and shot. So I wanted to show people, because I hate those Instagram right now. They show a strutter and they say, I can't wait for spring. And it just drives me nuts. So I said, you know what? I'm going to shoot a long beard in every month of the year in 12 consecutive months. So I started August 1st of 21, and I didn't tell my wife, but I was actually going to keep going. But I stopped I got my July. I had one day, because it opened on Southern Zone, Florida, opened on July 31st of 20. In 20, August of 20 is when I got my first bird, and July 31st of 21, I had 16 hours, and luckily that morning I was on a pinch, and then you're just watching them. And I had a tom come by and got a really good tom to finish my 12th month. And then I went back just to say I one-upped it, and I got my 13th month. So 13 straight months. But, I do all my gauges and right hand and left hand and different archery and whatever I can do to keep it interesting and keep it challenging. I just keep pushing the envelope and trying to re-inspire or invigorate folks to get out there and now what we're talking about too is technology. And with the technology, heck, I mean, when I started, technology was 2 cans and a string.
Yeah.
I mean, you wanted clarity, are you going to use braided, or are you going to use clear? Or, I mean, that's about all you could worry about as far as clarity or technology. But now with what's available, and it's a good and bad thing. I mean, everybody now can see where different properties are, or where they might want to be, target areas, and get to them and get back to them,
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's the face of hunting has definitely changed, not only in, since you've started hunting, but heck, I'd say in the past 10, 15 years, just at the rate that it's changed, it's been insane. But I want to ask you, how in the hell were you able to hunt for turkeys that long? I mean, I want to find out, like, from coordinating that with the wife and kids. It just, how did you do it?
Well, luckily, Florida, I did my July. So the July is the tough one. I did take a trip out to Texas. February is the next hardest state, and June now. So Florida is the only one that you can do July and August. June now, there's 3 states. There's Michigan, Wisconsin, and Maine. Maine was always open in June,
Okay.
but now the other 2 have come on. And February is for sure Texas. And I went down in Texas in that ice storm last year. My plane got canceled, and I said, honey, I'm all the way into this. I'm out of here. And I loaded up my truck and drove 27 hours from Okeechobee, Florida, got in at 11:30 at night, and I was 18 miles from the border, and hunted, got a bird. I told him, I said, I get a bird, I'm out of here. And I carried 6 5-gallon jugs of gas, because you hear stories, but everything was shut down. It was unbelievable. But so the logistics for me, the answer is the logistics. An incredible wife that supports it and knows that I need to be gone. I'm a better person when I'm gone and then come back. And, this spring is the longest stint. Other than that, it's just quick. I mean, I've got it, the contacts and the lack of fear of going and knocking on a door. And I mean, I do it to this day. I mean, people, so what are they going to do? Shoot you? It's not going to happen.
No.
You're going to probably, and I have people, I can't tell you how many times I've spent the night on couches. And now that I'm older and I've got more money, I still would rather stay. If I have a choice, I will stay with a family and sleep on their couch and be with them than to stay at a cold hotel I say sterile hotel, it's not temperature, it's just the personality.
Yeah.
I want to be there with those people. I want to know I want to learn from them about their culture, their area, their family, their do's and don'ts, and just all that's for me, that was part of the Super Slam. So I was in 14, I was the 10th. Now there's 10 people finishing the Super Slam a year. And you watch in 5 years, there'll be 50 people finishing the Super Slam. I mean, it's caught so much traction. I mean, my phone, I talk to somebody about turkeys almost on a daily text, email, or phone call, almost on a daily basis throughout the year.
Yeah.
And now it doesn't stop. I mean, at dinner, it'll buzz or something, and she looks at me and gives me the look. Are you married?
I am.
So
I am.
You know the look.
Oh,
the look
yeah.
is like, really?
Oh, I get that
and
too.
I say, baby, Yeah, I said, baby, if that phone's not ringing, we're not making money.
And
Yeah, it doesn't fly.
It's funny. My wife does the same thing. I mean, the day and age of the outdoor industry is like, it's all digital media now. We all work from home, and that's what I do. And so, I think when a lot of people are on their phones, it's typically they're on social media, they're playing a game or whatnot. But me, it's always revolving around something in the outdoor industry. And so my wife does the same thing. Like if we're at dinner, or, just finished dinner or something, phone will ring or whatever, and she goes, "Let me guess, work." Yep. And typically, like, I'm kind of like you. I'm obsessed with elk hunting, as I am turkey hunting, because I just love the chess match like you described. And I've got buddies that it's almost a daily basis talking to somebody about elk hunting or just hunting in general. So I'm definitely right there with you.
Yeah. And it's and there's nothing wrong with somebody. So for my Grand Slam, my norm is somebody that's 55 to 65 years old, that's got a lot of money, and they just have a bucket list to get in a Grand Slam. They do the research and they call me and they say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this with you. End of story. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I'm 100% success. Guarantee everything. You're going to, when you hunt with me, you're going to get your bird. End of story. Or birds. There's no ifs, ands, and buts. There's no failure. If you don't show up, well, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I mean, I'll send you a picture of my bird. You can Photoshop it or whatever. But so not taking anything away from somebody that just shows up with a price tag on and they just do it for the first time, or somebody like you and I that have such a passion and an obsession, and we delve in on a daily basis. It's to get people out there and doing it. You're use it or lose it, and we got to get these kids jacked up and get more out there and loving it and living for it and having it be part of their blood. But it's, obviously get excited about it.
All right, y'all, we're just going to interrupt this podcast real shortly and interrupt all the turkey hunting greatness and goodness that Jeff Budz has been bringing to y'all. But we just want to thank a couple of partners of HuntStand. We're going to take a second to thank WorkSharp. Sharpen every knife you own. If you're like me, you might have a knife or two that's questionable, that's in the pack, but you just love it. It's got that sentimental value to it. It was your dad's, brother's, it was somebody's, and you just can't get rid of it, but it dulls quickly. So if that's you, head on over to worksharptools.com. They've got a lot of different products that can remedy that for you. So if that's you, head on over worksharptools.com, and we just want to thank them for all their support for HuntStand. Next partner we want to thank Alps Outdoors. Exceed your expectations. If you're looking for some turkey hunting gear this spring, make sure you head on over to their website. That's alpsoutdoors.com. And they've got a lot of different things to make turkey hunting just a little bit easy for you this spring. But we just wanted to take this quick second, thank them real quick, and we're going to get y'all back right to the turkey hunting greatness. Oh, heck yeah, man. We've talked about your obsession with turkey hunting, how you got into it, but who taught you what you know? Or like, I know you've had all these mistakes, you learned from those mistakes, but who kind of gave you the initial push and introduction?
It was Jim Lynch was my buddy back, and they talk about Terminator.
Right.
So if turkeys could ever go back in time, they're going to go back and whack him or have him not be at that bar that night.
Yeah.
But after that, I surpassed his knowledge. But honestly, the birds, after 92 and I got that one bird, then I moved to Colorado that summer spring of April 1st, it was my first bird. April 1st of 89, April 1st of 92 was my second bird. And I moved to Colorado and I said, I'm going to really do this. And I started calling biologists out there. I teamed up with Rick Hoffman, was the biologist in Colorado. I can't believe his name came to me. But and then I called Nebraska and I started getting a bunch of literature. I'm not a guy that I burn so hard and heavy that when I do stop, if I start to read a big book, I'd be out like a light. I don't care what time of day it is. I mean, so I do books on tape now. But so how did I learn? I learned in the woods, and when I got around birds, I watched them. I mean, every move they made, and I talked to them. People are like, I'm afraid of, no, give it to them. And if they don't like one thing, now if they run, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But when you get a response and there's so much interaction and nonverbal interaction that goes on with all species, and especially with turkeys. And just like we talked about, the look from the wife. I mean, that's nonverbal, but they can give a look. You come in the house and she's got both hands on her hips and she's got her head crooked to the side. You just go, "I'm sorry. I have no idea what had happened, but I'm sorry."
And let me talk sweet nothings to her.
Exactly. So I watched birds, but I jumped in and I spent, so 94 was my first slam. And I said, I'm going to be in. And I spent as much time. And so when I'd spent knock on a door, I met somebody elk hunting. I met two guys from Oklahoma, and I said, "Oh, I saw a license plate." And I said, "You guys turkey hunt?" And he had his diaphragm in, and he turned and went, "Arr, arr, arr." And I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm coming." And he said, "Show up." And I said, "Okay, let's stop for 1 second." And I couldn't be more serious because I had already razzed him because life's too short. I tell everybody, if you get an opening on me or find a chink in the armor, you better take it because I'm going to get you every time I can. Because life's about having fun. And they said, "Oh, come on down." And I said, "I'm serious right now. I'm serious as a heart attack. Please do not offer. Don't ghost me when I call you, because I am the guy that's going to show up. I promise you." And they're dear friends of mine now to this day. And, I was waiting tables. Some girl in Boulder had a cute little Southern accent. I said, "Where are you from? What's your name?" Whatever, Lisa. "Where are you from?" "Mississippi." I said, "Mississippi?" And she's like, "Yeah." And she starts rolling her eyes. I said, "You got brothers?" And she went, "Yeah." And now she's totally thinking this guy is going to hit, he's hitting on me. I said, "Do they turkey hunt?" She said, "Well, yeah." And now she's put off that I'm actually starting to realize that what I'm doing, and it has nothing to do with hitting on her. I said, here's my number. Or if you want to give me theirs, I want to talk to them. And I'm telling you, I will go for the juggler. And, everybody gets a little intimidated here and there. Last thing we do is go knock on a door, but they're just people. And so what? They say no. Go to the next door. And that's why, for Osceola, supply and demand, it's tough down here. I mean, I've known some of these ranchers forever, but for me to give them a $10,000 or $15,000 check to buy some birds, if a guy has that much property, $10,000 or $15,000 doesn't move his dial at all. He could care less about that. So they don't want anybody on their property. And there aren't doors that you can just go knock on. Yes, there are. There are plenty everywhere in the country. But Florida and Texas are so close, and you're there. I mean, you go out in the country. If there's a house that you can see, it's several hundred, if not thousands of yards off the main road, and there's a lock gate between you and that house. So you can't just waltz up and knock on a door.
No.
So anyway.
And it's funny you talk. I want to talk about this knocking on doors, because I feel like there's a lot of ranches out there, and I'm finding this out through friends whose family have property or they've got property themselves, but a lot of people out here in Texas have kind of, I don't want to say quit caring about turkey, but turkey's not as big down here. And I think that's all because of the huge rise in exotics and just the whitetail hunting down here. So I've actually found it fairly easy to get some turkey access down here, because people are like, "Oh, you want to go shoot a turkey?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do. What can I do? What can I pay?" And they're like, "Nothing. I don't care. They're just turkeys." I'm like, "Okay, deal." But for somebody like in Mississippi, Alabama, Kentucky, or even Florida, like, what's your kind of go-to or process, if you will, when you go knocking on doors? Like, what does Jeff Budz do?
Well, first and foremost, and so it's funny because I say go in the off season, but as quickly as I say that, wherever I've been, if I'm on opening day, if something happens and I don't have a stars lined up and everything's perfect, I'll go knock on a door opening day. But in a perfect world, you don't go find somebody. You go when it's nice. When they don't, if the wind's not blowing, it's cold, and they have to crack the door. You go when it's nice, and you get them in the late afternoon, and they're around the house doing chores. You go up and go, "Hey, how's it going?" You don't wear camo. You don't go in numbers. You go, if you got a kid, bring the kid. Dog, great. I'm just kidding. The missus, Great deal. But I try and keep it simple, and they know, just like a girl, when you go up to a girl in the college days or whenever you're in a rut and chasing a girl, she knows the game. But you know what? You don't just go right for the juggler and say, hey, you want to go on a date? Or, like, hey, what's your name? Hey, what's this? What's that? And then you beat around the bush. It's part of it, and so you find out about them. You learn about their property or their area or their family, the lineage. I mean, some of these families are generational
Yeah.
properties. And to find out that kind of stuff and learn, I mean, it's just, I get tingles thinking about all the information and all the opportunities I've had to meet these incredible people and learn. And they're so proud of it when they start talking about it. It's like a grandparent when you say, oh, you got a picture. Well, now they don't open up their wallet. They have the full 82 pictures in plastic. They get their phone out and they can start swiping through it. You say, ask a grandparent about their grandkid, and I mean, they're proud as heck. But the folks, with those properties and, and then you just fall into somebody. I mean, so we went Nebraska and you get 4 birds. And I told my buddy up there, because I guide up there, send him a lot of people. And I told him from the beginning, I said, we're not coming up and shooting 4 toms. I said, we each want 1 tom. And some of those ranchers, when they have people in the South don't know what it's like to look out and see 300 turkeys, and they're at the ranch every day, and they hit the bales of hay with the oats in them and stuff, and they'll scratch through the entire bale, 6-foot bale, round bale, and just to get those seeds, and all the hay, the grass is gone and just trashed. And so we definitely shot some hens, and it's part of it. But they say, if you're not going to start shooting any of these birds, I'm going to just nuke them all. And you're like, whoa, hold on, and we'll give you some money. But you got to offer money. And as quick as I say that, the properties, when I had my painting business, I'd go in and I'd say, hey, how's it going? And they go, oh yeah, what do you want? It's no trespassing. I said, that trim, if you don't get on that trim pretty quick, you're gonna be replacing a bunch of wood here. What do you mean? I said, look at that. You see that mold growing over there? If you don't get that power wash and get that old wood off of there, you're gonna lose it. And they go, huh, what do you know about it? Well, I had a painting business. And then they go, a painting business? Because now they're interested. Now you're in their world. Now they wake up every day and they look at that mold. They know exactly. Their grandparents built the place.
Oh, yeah.
And their biggest chore is to whitewash that that ranch, that compound.
Uh-huh.
And I have gone in, and I could still go back. Bobby and Karen, in Gardner, Colorado, and bear, elk, turkey. What do you want here? And I went in and took my guys with, and one weekend we power washed and scraped everything. The next 2 weekends later, went in and primed everything, tape and paper, primed it, and put 2 coats on in a weekend. And that alone, and it was under $1,000 of materials, and you couldn't pay them. There wasn't enough money they would accept to be able to get in on their property to hunt it. But because you did that for them, I mean, it's Christmas card time every year,
Oh yeah, you building up that trust and relationship with them, and then as soon as it comes time to turkey hunting, it's sure, go right on ahead. That's awesome. The next thing I want to kind of dive into, Jeff, is your Grand Slams and Super Slams. Let's explain to the listener that may not know what that means. What are all these Grand Slams and Super Slams that you talk about?
Okay, so a Grand Slam, there's 4. Well, there's actually some Goulds in Arizona and New Mexico, but there's 4 types, subspecies, because species is elk, deer, cat. Those are different species. Subspecies they're all of the same start or origin, turkeys. So Florida, if you look at Florida, it's like a 7.
Okay.
And Jacksonville is up on the Atlantic on the northeast corner. If you draw 45 down to the Gulf, anything below that line is designated as an Osceola. So that's one of the birds of the 4. So for this Grand Slam, there's 4. And, baseball, it's when you hit a Grand Slam home run, everybody knows there's 3 men on and you hit a home run, you got 4 scores. Well, there's trout, there's like, if you do that, there's 7 different kinds of trout if you're going to catch, or 8, whatever it is. And so
Right.
there's different kinds. The sheep, the desert doll, bighorn, stone. So there's different kinds of grand slams and all kinds of what we talk about in life. So the eastern turkey is from the Atlantic, and I say to the Mississippi because everybody knows where the Mississippi is, but the Mississippi is between Illinois and Missouri. So if you go one state west of that, really is Nebraska, Kansas, go down eastern Oklahoma. So that's really where the demarcation, where the cutoff is. And the Rio, like the Rio Grande, is in the southwest, and the Merriam is in the mountains, so the northwest. So there's 4 different types of birds, and honestly, they act exactly the same. They do the same stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, a mom is a mom, a wife is a wife is a wife, and that look is that look is that look. And so people, and I laugh and I kid people. I'm like, well, did you, somebody goes, okay, I'm going to bring my calls and I want to learn some stuff from you. Okay. So they get out and they hunt. I go, well, did you bring your Osceola call? And for that split second, they look with the most dumbfounded look. They go, I go, hello, they're all the same. Oh, okay, because you had me there for a second. I mean, they're all the same. They do the same stuff, calls, gestures. I mean, if they can catch it and fit it in their mouth, they're going to eat it. If it's going to chase after them, they're going to run or fly. I mean, it's all the same. They fly up in the tree at night. They come down during the light hours, and they're on the ground. And she nests, and her job is to survive and make more babies. That she has 2 jobs: survive, make more babies. His is to survive and chase her around for the month of the spring, and then get back with the guys and watch football.
Sounds like the life.
So, exactly, right? So that's the Grand Slam, the 4 birds, and everybody, you can get a Grand Slam in, I set the mark at 45 hours is the fastest I did it. Grand Slam.
Holy cow.
Started in Florida, and then, went up quick. I parked my car in Kansas City and then flew back, got a rental, shot a bird here, went to Kansas City, shot an eastern just south of Kansas City the next morning, and then noon or 2, whatever, a Rio in western Kansas, drove to Shatter, Nebraska, got 11 minutes of sleep. And my buddy woke me up, and we were there for Fly Down Bird. And so that's flying commercial. I'm trying to get somebody with a jet because I want to do it in 16 hours, but I need somebody with money. Oh, I got it lined up. Got to set the bar high. I told you. So that's the Grand Slam. You can do it in a lifetime. You can do it in hours. It doesn't matter. And any bird counts for a Grand Slam. Any legal bird. Mm-hmm. I have my Excel spreadsheet, and it goes by the year, and of the year, then it goes over. It says the state. It says the subspecies. It says the sex. And then all the measurements and license and all that good stuff. So you turn it into the National Wild Turkey Federation, and $15 a bird. And so for 1 Grand Slam, it's $60. They send you 4 pins, 1 for each bird, and 4 certificates. And then the 5th one says a Grand Slam. And then the pin says Grand Slam, and the certificate says Grand Slam. So you can look online and go to their records section. And now they've made it easy. So you can actually apply and do everything online. It used to be paper, so that's streamlined the process. And then the Super Slam is to take a bird, a legal turkey, out of the 49 states. As I said before, there's none in Alaska, so 49. Hawaii is definitely included. And there's a lot of birds and a lot of property, and there's a lot of guys traveling these days, and and doing all their homework. And that's why the technology and the phones and the information out there to set yourself up for success, and do more than you ever thought possible that you could or would do before you step foot on the soil. And that's not on the property. That's whether your cart crosses the line or the plane lands or however you get there. So there's as much done as you can. But there's the double edge. If you've done nothing, get out there and knock on a door. Go to a bar. Go to a archery shop. I found they're much more hunters than rifle guys. They know that it is what it is. But what I found is I'll stop off and see an archery store. I'll see a UPS driver. Oh, forget about it. He'll think he's trashed my package or something. I'm like, no, listen, I got permission on a guy's property. Oh, I have birds on my own property. I mean, it's UPS, FedEx, Postal. Those people are out there on those roads every day, and there's no competition. Like if you see somebody in the woods and you're like, "Hey, what's up?" "Oh, nothing. What's up?" "Hey, did you see anything?" "Yeah, there's a lot of birds over there." And he points over there one way to the far right. Well, guess what? When he leaves, you go to the far left because you know he's not going to put you on the honey hole.
Right.
So anyway, little tricks and because again, at the end of the day, when you get back and you're whoever there is, maybe it's just yourself. You're the only one in your life that you need to answer to, but somebody you're gonna look in the mirror, you're gonna talk on the phone, and they're gonna say, "How'd you do?" And there's gonna be a moment of utter disappointment. And if you don't do everything you can before and during, then it's your own fault, And we've
That's
all
true.
been there. If everything we did was successful, it'd be boring, So
I gotta ask. I looked up the turkey records in NWTF, and I searched your name, and not really ask. I'm just letting listeners know this, just to let them know how decorated you are as America's #1 turkey killer. But when I search your name in the records, it says limited to 100 results, and it just goes on and on and on, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. It costs a lot of money, a lot of $15 that are turning all those birds, those knuckleheads. I should get something, huh?
NWTF, talk to Budz. Well, Jeff, what are your plans for 2022, and where are you headed this year? I mean, what's the golden plan for this turkey season that's about to start?
Well, so I, of course, go back to my Excel spreadsheet, and I, of course, think long term. And so I've got a 3.5-year-old, and he is too young this year to hunt. It'd be criminal to try and put a gun. I mean, he gets the fly gun. If there's a fly in the house, I mean, we leave the door open, begging flies to come in because it's so much fun around our house. You can't go barefoot because you feel like you're at the beach. So we have a blast with that, and it's a great start.
Yeah.
But my 13-year-old, the 17-year-old, it was quite a while ago, and she got her slam, finished a double season slam. So now the 13-year-old, she gets to go. So taking the whole family out west, so she can Kenna can finish her slam. But I do, and along the way, so I've kept records, and I'm at one super slam, and I've got 3 birds in another 20 some states, 2 birds in another few, and then singles in a lot. So I'm going to slow down and just start picking away and doing that and working for birds. And because I had a lot of fun in those states,
Oh, yeah.
you never go to ever before. And again, but when Hunter is, after next year, I'm hoping we can use a single shot 410 and put it on him. I put a red dot. I mean, I set him up, everybody up for success, TSS all the way. And so when it gets to him, I mean, it's when it gets to those little ones, golly, I'll always hunt, but boy, I'm going to slow down a bunch when those, and the girls, I mean, they're killers. Don't get a woman mad. Oh, they're brutal. I mean, they'll pull that trigger and their heart does. I'd love to get a heart rate machine because a monitor, because they don't even care. Guys get jacked up and flinch and all this buck fever. Girls, they're stone cold killers, especially mine. And so so I do my Grand Slam stuff. I start off here in Florida, and I go back and forth. I do Osceolas Eastern. So a guy will come in and I spends 5 days with me, and I do an Osceola and then an Eastern. And then I kick him to the curb, and then I go out west and I do Kansas, Nebraska, South Dakota. I'll pick them up in Denver, and they're with me for 4 or 5 days. And then I do a Miriam Rio, and it's 2 guys because I pump through them pretty quick, and it's a barn burner. I mean, it's driving trains, planes, and automobiles, and I make it simple. And then friends and family come along the way, and I'll be on the road for a month. And, we go back to how does a wife let you do it? And I said a long time ago, one of my buddies, like, I'm selling all my guns, and he was diehard. And I go, what do you mean you're selling all your guns? He said, yeah, my wife doesn't want me to hunt anymore. And when I say a light bulb went off, a light bulb went off, Will, and I said, I have got to make a living out of this, so I can never be told that I can't go hunting. And I literally made that decision. And I said, I'm going to make a living at doing something in the outdoors. And
Yep.
I didn't know exactly how it was going to work, but it's worked pretty well. So anyway, they're coming with, I will be on the road, but FaceTime and with the technology and automated bills and all that stuff, in-laws that help out a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
She's set up. I mean, it's hard. It's a battle, and
Yeah.
she's a saint. But and she knows I'm better off, because I'd be Harry Carey if Jeff Budz sat at home for the month of March and April. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. There's not enough drugs or restraints or whatever that would make that happen. But
I hear ya.
and then sneak away. I mean, when I have days off, I mean, I love guiding because I've been so successful with all my clients, and there's always I always have tags, and they're always they say, I've got mine, and I tell them, I'm like, give me that gun, and it's only, say one bird here or there, and I know the ones that I have history with, and when there's time, and I know I'm always going to get mine and have my opportunity. So I haven't gone crazy off the beaten path. I mean, last year the push was 13 months, and I went out of my way, and I there was some travel involved way outside the norm. But again, it was contacts and places, and I just had to take the time. And here's the one I tell everybody. They're like, oh, I can't do it. Oh, this and that. Well, yeah, you can. You can. It's your time. And there's a difference between making time and taking time, because
Yep.
it's yours. Take it. It's yours. You use it up. You get a fresh new clock every day when you wake up. What are you going to do with it? And I know it's hard nowadays. I mean, I took a big hit. I mean, guiding, they didn't show up in 20. Just gone. Nope, can't come. We'll come next year. Huh? Okay. Well, then 21, I had all these people that I wasn't getting any new income. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still recovering. So nobody's going to preach to me about watching every penny or it's hard to make ends meet. I mean, it is harder for others. I get that.
Yeah.
But if somebody really wants to do it, there is a way, and sacrifice is part of it, and dedication and determination and, all that stuff, and lack of sleep. And, I mean, lack of sleep equals success for me. If somebody says, what's your number one? Lack of sleep. And I have sunflower seeds, and I have books on tape, and I drive. Some of my extremities I can't feel because it's so cold, because that's how I stay awake. I stay so cold. If anybody's traveling with me, I say, you better put on a sweater or get in a sleeping bag or what are you talking about? It's 70 something. Well, it's not going to be when we're driving in the middle of the night. It's going to and I'm going to have the AC on max. So you better bundle up. What? Well, yeah, there's stuff, and to do whatever you want to do. It's out there.
It is, man. It is. Well, Jeff, I really love the time that we've gotten to sit down, talk turkey hunting, everything turkey hunting for a little bit. I know I definitely want to get you back on here to talk language of turkeys and, more tips and tactics, but we're going to save that for a later podcast. But tell the listeners real quick, where can they find you on social media? Do you have a YouTube channel? I think I saw something about Turkey University. Tell us a little bit about where we can find you.
Yeah, there's some information I put out on at Turkey University, and Andy does a pretty good job with that. And I'm not as after it as I should with social. I have Instagram, Jeff S. Budz, Budz, Jeff S. Budz. And so it's linked. They're linked. I think Instagram and Facebook are linked and all that stuff. And my website is, you can Google my name, Jeff Budz, or tag it worldwide. There's a lot. I try and get some stuff out there and get people cranked up, and, and I'm 55, and I'm, the technology is I'm good with it. I'm okay with it. Some of the younger kids are really doing much better, because they really jumped on, and they're putting a lot out. And I tell you, I mean, it's work. there's a lot of work involved. And anyway, I need to do better. So
just got to get to posting. Just post a little
That's
bit
it.
here and there. I hear you. Well, Jeff, I really appreciate it, man. It was fun getting to talk turkey hunting with you this afternoon. I can't wait to get you back on here again. And I know we'll get to see you here soon on the next one.
all right, buddy. Thanks for calling it. You guys, everybody else, get out there and have fun.
And there you go, everybody. Another end to another episode of the HuntStand podcast. We hope that y'all enjoyed this one. We hope that you learned something from Mr. Jeff Budz himself. And we hope that we have y'all just ready to go chase after some birds in the woods. It's time. We hope that y'all have a successful spring. And remember, we're going to be kicking off Field Note Fridays here very shortly. And again, what that is, it's a mini seasonal series where we're going to be talking what the birds are doing in certain areas of the country. And this is going to be live information from experts. They're going to be bringing this to us. So hopefully, if y'all are in that area or close to it, y'all kind of can get a little bit of a head start on what the birds might be doing in your area, game plan a little bit better. But don't forget, we've got Field Note Fridays brought to you by WorkSharp, coming here pretty quick. So make sure y'all are subscribed to the podcast. And again, we appreciate y'all's support, and we'll see you on the next one.